Thank you, everyone, for taking part in this panel discussion on dredging. India's port modernization and port development program entails a huge amount of dredging component. So, we are looking at deepening many ports, and there are new ports that have been developed and which requires a fair amount of capital dredging as well as maintenance, for existing ports, maintenance dredging as well. And in India at the moment, I think we all know that, the capacity for dredging is limited. So we have to rely on, foreign dredging companies and all that. So to flag off the discussion, I would like to ask Mr. Vijaymurthy, who has been a veteran in this industry for many years now, what is the kind of, what is the dredging market in India, and how do you see it playing out in view of this port modernization program?
Thank you, Mr. Manoj, and thanks to ETInfra for inviting us for this program. And we continuously follow ETInfra, and especially Mr. Manoj's articles, which are well researched and very authentic, I must say.
Thank you,
and
sir.
The port sector. So that's one thing. Then coming to the dredging is concerned, and if you see the major ports are 13 major ports now is going to be added by Vadwan, Galatia port, they call about it. And the private sector, large ports have come up, like Adani and JSW and SR. All these people have come up with many ports, and dredging requirements also increased tremendously. And if you look at it, among all these ports, only around 10 ports are 15 plus draft, and around 2 ports are 18 meters. It's not good enough. We should go up to 20 meters. So because the infrastructure development happening and the cargo is increasing, unless we have a deep draft ports, it's not good for the country. But coming to the dredging quantities, you talk about, they're into some millions. And thanks to Mr. Khuntia, who takes care of most of dredging in India. And the dredging companies as such, they're limited in India because all the dredges are very capital intensive, and as such, running them, maintaining them without work is also very difficult. So that's why it is in a difficult situation. But if you talk about the dredging requirements, is huge, Mr. Manoj, huge. Because regular maintenance is there, capital works are there. So, every company got a good opportunity to be in the field and serve the country. That much I can say. Thank you, Manoj.
Okay. Mr. Ramanathan, coming to you, NMDC was one of the largest dredging and contractors in the world. So you have been in India for quite some time now. You have taken up a lot of contracts, and what are some of the what are your plans to further bolster your presence in India, and what are the challenges that you face?
Hello, yeah. First of all, thanks for inviting us here. NMDC is National Marine Dredging Companies often get confused with NMDC here in India. It's different NMDC. It's Abu Dhabi owned, state owned company, UAE owned company, which is a stock listed company, and it's a 50 years old company. And I can say it is one of the largest dredging company. I will not say dredging company, dredging and marine civil company in the world. We have done a turnover of $4.5 billion last year, and it is growing very fast. And this year, by far, we will exceed the turnover. And we know that India is a very fast-growing economy in the world. And the ties between UAE and India is at peak now, actually. It's in a very good, the bilateral ties are at a very good, at the golden era, we can say. And last year, the two countries have signed a comprehensive economic partnership agreement, a SEPA agreement. I think NMDC is going to capitalize this agreement. And the agreement is that these two countries they will collaborate with each other companies to develop both the countries basically. So we are going to utilize this agreement. Through this agreement, we hope will do some projects in the coming years. And we are already looking at few projects here in India. There are a couple of private and public projects. And we are confident soon in the coming years we will start our operations here in India. We started here in 2013, we are on and off, but now it's high time through this agreement we are going to establish ourselves big as one of the leading marine civil contractor, dredging marine civil contractor in India. And it is always NMDC's aim, Abu Dhabi, a company, a UAE's aim to contribute significantly in the maritime sector in India. And it is a time for us to come in, actually, sure. That's a plan for us to come in here to India. Thank you.
So, Mr. Rakesh, you represent the ISDPL, which is part of the DEME group. Do you have any Indian flag dredgers operating in India, and how do you plan to expand it, or how are you looking at any collaborations with Indian companies to expand?
Good evening, and again, thank you, Mr. Manoj and ETInfra for giving an opportunity to be here. It's a wonderful forum. Yes, we have an Indian flag vessel. Actually, we have been here for the last more than 25 years. We're established in India, so our presence is quite strong. We don't look only at some projects, but we really look at small to medium to large projects. All kind of projects we are looking into it. Our plan is to expand, to have more Indian flag vessel. But of course, there are challenges, as you discussed in the morning. Some of them are being addressed by DG Shipping and other authorities. Probably that will help in inspiring to at least reflag at least one or two more dredgers to Indian flag. That's what we wish to.
Mr. Ramanathan, I just wanted to ask you one very topical thing. Recently, for this Waterways port project, the government has tried to adopt the HAM model for dredging and reclamation works. Perhaps the first time that it's been done. How do you view this? I mean, normally dredging contracts are taken on EPC basis, and how will this change affect the dynamics of the port project, and how are dredging companies gearing up to take up this project?
It is a pioneering approach, in my opinion, actually, in financing an Indian maritime infrastructure project. And we believe it is giving a balance, risk-sharing option, basically between the government and the private contractors or private stakeholders. And as NMDC group, it is not completely new to us. We have been involved similar kind of, it's not exactly the same model, but similar model, and we have successfully completed those projects, and we finished those projects actually. So from the draft, whatever we are seeing, that we don't see any major problem in this. By seeing similar sectors, the agreement, the HAM model agreement, seeing the similar sectors in India, if the conditions are the same, we don't believe definitely we are going to participate in this tender. There is no, we don't have a major concern on participating in this tender. And so still we are waiting for these final documents to be released to get the final document. Then we will see how it goes. So definitely we are going to participate. There is no doubt about it. In terms of Waterways project itself, from my colleague I understood that it has 220 million cube of reclamation. By coincidence, a couple of years back, we dredged 220 million cube in the Suez Canal expansion project under the leadership of NMDC consortium. In a record-breaking time, 1 million cube per day. In 220 days, we finished 220 million cube. So we are really confident, and we have the experience, similar experience we can use in this project. As well as when I see Waterways, it is somehow is a replica of Khalifa Port project, which have recently completed in UAE. So Khalifa Port also have similar civil infrastructure facilities and dredging requirements, which we have done over a period of 6 years at various phases. And this project also has 50 plus million cube of dredging and reclamation works. We dredged the material. It's a weak to medium rock. We dredged and reclaimed it, completely utilized the material, fulfilling the fill criteria and the requirements for the compaction. And it has 18 minus 18.5 meters dredging depth. And it has similar breakwater nature, completely offshore environment of 4 kilometers. And it has 30 plus berths. And it has 10 plus kilometers of quay wall to minus 18.5, and it's exactly the similar. So we do believe that utilizing all this experience, we are really looking forward for this job. And also, to just give an example, that today we are doing the largest reclamation, dredging and reclamation job in the world of reclaiming 400 plus million cube of reclamation is ongoing. We finished more than 50% of this project. It's in Abu Dhabi. It's 400 million cube plus. It's still growing. And we almost finished 200 million cube plus million cube already. And we do in a pace of average of 3 to 5 million cube every week, sometimes 7 million cube in a week. And we finish almost 50 plus percentage. And we do build hills in UAE now. So not only reclaiming islands, now the trend is changed. We are using dredge material to build hills up to plus 50 meters. That also we have done a couple of hills and still it is growing. So I think using this experience, for sure NMDC is going to participate, willing to participate on this tender. Using all this experience, we will fulfill the requirements of this tender, we will fulfill the requirements of the Government of India as well as the port authorities.
Mr. Vijaymurthy, in dredging, I mean, it is, I've heard you earlier also, I mean, during conversations you have told me about the importance of data in the structuring of dredging projects. How important it is that you should get the data correctly in terms of soil and various other technical parameters so that you can arrive at a good competitive rate. What is your take on this?
Yeah. Coming to the data, if you talk about the capital dredging, they work out some kind of geotechnical investigations and they gave it to us. And they're reasonably correct to some extent, taking that as being a capital project. But the risk is with the maintenance dredging, where what we are finding is where some ports are there, the maintenance dredging is continuing for years from the time of commissioning of the port. But the pity is they don't have proper data. Even if they have data, they don't share with the client. That some are two ports, especially, I can name them also, Haldi and Paradeep and Cochin, they don't share. So suppose if a dredging company is working for many years, last at least 3-4 years, what is the quantity dredged and how much, what kind of material dredged and what kind of equipment is deployed. If it is shared with the client, then a contractor can give a better price, which they don't do. That is a very difficult area, what I'm finding it. And things should change. It's last many years we're talking with the clients. When client thinks sharing such data may risk them, because sometimes what happens is they think some inefficient contractor will come and put them in difficulties. So they don't share that information. They want to keep it for themselves. That is the wrong thing is happening. Especially maintenance thing is happening. Capital is okay. Risk is for everybody. For the client is risk and the contractor is risk. For the maintenance is concerned, is a known job. Client is very well known about it. So he should share the information adequately so that a contractor can give a better price. That's what it is.
Mr. Khuntia, I just wanted to, pick your mind on, about this 406 and 407. This is, cabotage and all that. And considering that, for some of these projects, and by and large, you need to get foreign dredgers into the country. Is that an impediment for, India's dredging program, that you don't have adequate Indian flag dredgers and you have to necessarily depend on foreign flag vessels?
The truth is yes, because if you see the statistics for the last, say even 10 years, there was hardly any dredging project other than Adani. Adani is doing for themselves. But other than Adani, any other major capital dredging projects in private or in government sector, all has been dredged by the foreign equipment. Because, for example, DCI, they don't have a single equipment which is capable of doing capital dredging. It's all maintenance related equipment. So yes, we have to depend on foreign equipment to come and dredge for capital dredging projects.
Is that been facilitated by the regulator? Is that there is some? Do you face any problems while bringing in foreign flag vessels?
Typically not. I think DG Shipping has been quite diligent about this, especially when we mobilize trailing section dredger or cutter section dredger. we have not seen major hurdles with respect to importing or bringing these vessels inside. However, sometimes some auxiliary vessels, like you bring a cutter dredger, but also you have to bring a multi-cat. And then multi-cat is a specialized vessel which is required to handle the floating pipelines, anchors, etc. And in India, there is no multi-cat is available. I mean, Adani has a single multi-cat that's for themselves, and maybe somebody else has. That's it. So there, sometimes we have encountered some troubles, but I think this is all that's doable. I'm sure DG Shipping will do something about the auxiliary equipment as well. Because these are equipment, for example, we are talking in the morning that if you bring a foreign flag vessel, the crew requirement is say 4 or 5 crew only. Okay, but I see that when we have to mobilize here to India, we have special other requirements to comply MLCs, where in a foreign country, probably that is not exactly applicable. So there are some small issues are there, but I think by and large, there are not major challenges in bringing foreign flag vessels to India.
Mr. Ramanathan, India, sometime back tried to bring in age restrictions on vessels plying on the coast. I think dredgers were also included in that. Will that, given the huge requirements and given the fact that dredgers run for longer period than typical vessels, is that a good decision to take, a good move to do, given India's requirements?
Yeah, it is not only new in India, it is in other countries as well. They tried this. But dredging equipments are specialized equipments actually. These are, if you keep on maintaining it and refurbishing it, I don't think we need to scrap that actually. So dredging equipments are particularly when it comes to oil fields where the risk is very, very high. If some damage is done by this vessel, the whole oil field stops. Means it is basically it's danger to the economy of the country itself. In those countries itself, they are giving special dispensation to these dredgers. So basically, in our opinion, it is not practically possible today because the dredgers are already shortage in the world to meet the demand, whatever required with all these projects, ongoing projects. So they do special dispensation for these dredgers, considering subject to inspecting this vessel that it is meeting all the regulations and requirements to operate in that particular field. They accept these vessels, and still we do with some older vessels jobs all around the world with this special dispensation agreement basically, with proper inspection.
Right. Mr. Vijaymurthy, this, again coming back to section 406 and 407, you are of the view that it should not be applicable to dredgers because they are not cargo carrying vessels, right? Can you please elaborate on that?
If you consider this 406, 407, comes under a cabotage law, where the cargo is carried from a port to other port. When it comes to the dredging, it's not carrying any cargo to any place. It's dredging and dumping at a location or for using it reclamation purpose. So application of 406 and 407 delays the matter. Every time going for a SLP and all that, that can be dispensed. It was not there before instantly. Only 20 years back, for some reason, somebody initiated that and became a law. But that if DG Shipping and government can reconsider that, it may be good. In fact, on that, Mr. Venkateswaran, mercantile law expert in those days, gave his opinion also. But anyway, that is a different thing, and our gentleman is here and he has a different opinion. Probably it can be looked in it, and sometime I'll try to bring that legal opinion, which is old one, but which is informative. Then another thing is coming to the age. If you look at it, leaving the China and other European companies and all that, if you take it, trailer section dredgers, around 110 or so are available all over the world, as per the website of each company. And cutters are there around 50 or 60, something like that. Less than 20, if you take it, trailers will be around 50 and cutter section will be around 10 or 12. They're not good enough. It's fine. But what happens is every project, all the consultants work out a dredging cost at particular level. That level is, suppose if you bring a new dredger 11 years old or 10 years old, that cost expense will be going up. If it is a dredger of 25 years or 30 years old, it will be giving economical pricing. And 3 years back, we used a dredger which is 36 years old. It worked efficiently because, as Mr. Palaniappan said, we can't afford to not to maintain a dredger. And it is like ship shape always, because if a dredger stopped for a day, we'll lose a lot of revenue. So always dredges are maintained quite well. So there should be some kind of consideration in age relaxation. I don't say 40 years dredges should be allowed to bring in, but up to 30, 35 years can be considered without any difficulty. And another thing is, now we put a Vadwan port comes, several dredges have to be deployed, considering the equipment material involved. And although dredges not will be available in the country, they have to be brought from outside only. And no company will be able to, though we have all of us having equipment, we don't keep them in India because they'll be in Dubai or Singapore or somewhere. Depending upon the requirement, we bring the vessel here. Suppose if you say that we don't allow you a dredger more than 25 years old, then what happened to the project? Then the client had to increase his budget. He is not willing to increase the budget. So that who is losing? The port want dredging to be economical and should be cheaper. Then allow the equipment to come in, a good equipment to be here. Then you get the good cost. Or increase the cost. Anyway, the costs are going to increase now because if the dredges are going to be dismantled, old ones, and with the new fuels, vessels are coming in, that capital cost is definitely going up. Maintenance cost also going to go up. Maybe it may not be next 2-3 years, but it's going to happen next couple of years. The ports have to take this also into consideration. Thank you.
Mr. Khuntia, India, I think, Dredging Corporation, as you said, Dredging Corporation doesn't have a, do you think, Indian yards have now, started to, at least in Cochin shipyard, they are looking at gaining the expertise to build dredges. So, will Indian yards going forward be able to build the kind of dredges that the dredging industry needs?
I think it is possible. Also when I was listening to the gentleman from Cochin Shipyard, and what he says is very right. If they can build an aircraft carrier, I'm sure they can also build a decent dredger. Okay, and they're also together with IHC that they bring the technology from IHC. In that case, I'm sure IHC will also handhold them. There will be learning curves, but I think Cochin Shipyard is known for their quality. We have to see how timely they deliver the vessel. That's also a quite important thing. When he also mentioned that it's not about the price only, it's also the timely delivery of the equipment. So that has to be seen, but I believe that they have capabilities to do so, and it will be a good thing. Also, it will be a feather in the cap for Indian shipbuilding industry. And tomorrow also, if more Indian owners want to build a dredger in India, probably this will pave the path. Yeah.
Mr. Ramanathan, in the government has also been talking about introducing PPP model for dredging contracts. Forget about this Vadhavan port project where it's on a PPP HAM model, but pure play BOT model where, just like highways. Do you think such models are amenable for dredging projects?
I think it's happening in Egypt. They are doing some projects in Egypt. Probably it is possible here as well. So we do believe, yes, it is possible. Why not?
For longer periods, say for instance 30 years or 20 years or something like
yes, 20 to 30 years. It is already happening in Egypt.
So what will be the revenue recovery in that? Will the dredging contractor be given the rights to, charge from the ship's calling, or how will you
I don't think independently the dredging contractor can do by themselves. They need to bring a financier with them probably to do this.
In such cases, who will charge the customers or the ships calling at the facilities, the dredging contractor or the port operator?
The port operator has to do. There should be some collaboration agreement between them basically.
And then they will pass on.
Pass on, yes.
Mm-hmm. So you think it is possible?
Yes, it is possible. Now the world is changing. Everybody has to adapt to the changes, basically, if you want to do business.
Typically, dredging contractors would like to do it on an EPC all along because they'll get the work done and then...
Yeah, as purely as a contractor, that's what they want. They want to get their money and they want to get their profit and go back. But now the trend is changing, so they need to come back with some backup solutions to do these kind of projects.
Okay. Now, I would like to throw open the floor for questions. If you can
And
please
I want
ask.
to answer something else on the previous question. Just I want to touch Mr. Vijaymurthy's answer, that when we are not extending the life of these dredgers, what happens? The impact is very big to the clients, particularly to the clients. So if you are trying to buy new dredgers of $250 million, $300 million investment, then your DNA component immediately jumps in, basically. When the dredger is like 15 or 20 years old, your unit rates, you can keep the unit rate slightly lower because it's already depreciated over a period of time, and you can meet the client budget. When you want to clean all these dredgers out, you want to bring new dredgers, the unit rate of per cubic meter is going to dramatically increase. Finally, who is going to pay? The client is going to pay the money. So it is win-win for both contractor and the client to give some extended life for these dredgers with proper inspection and proper rebuilding. That will benefit both the contractor and the client in that perspective, basically. Thank you.
I am Devdutt from Tata Consulting Engineers. We are the PMC for dredging phase 1 and phase 2. Both were very challenging projects. The ground condition in Vodwan will not be similar. We don't have all the data also. If I list, there are 20 risks in a dredging project where the contractor has to load when you are moving from a EPC to a PPP HAM model. So suppose it is a 20,000 crore project and it becomes 30,000 when you quote and you take 40% out, automatically the project gets cancelled. Number one point. Second point is, my question to you is, what are the top 5 risks you want the authority to take care of?
Okay. The first thing I believe in any dredging project, there are 2 major risks I see. One is ground condition, other one is weather downtime. These are the 2 major risks for the dredging contractor, which can bankrupt the company itself, basically, okay? So the ground condition is the major risk in any dredging project. As long as we have the clear ground condition data of the entire project mapped in, then I don't think we can mitigate majority of the risk. So the sufficient enough geotechnical information is crucial for the contractor to decide his cost for the project. That's the most important information. And in terms of weather downtime, as long as we have your 27 years of weather data, we can predict the data and we can price the job. So the most important risk is the ground condition, basically. That's what we need to know completely, 100% basically.
But if you see the dredging cost, if you break up, 25% goes to the fuel. When you enter into a contract of 15 years, whether it is 100 rupees or 300 rupees, you don't know today. How will you mitigate that risk?
So the project is going to be executed in a couple of years, so we know.
No.
Yeah.
It is a 3 plus 15 years.
Yep.
It's a HAM annuity project. 3 years of execution and 15 years of maintenance.
Yep.
You don't know how much is the maintenance dredging also. It is very nice for you to tell that it takes care of all the complexities and all. We also know that. But when you come to the ground condition, how you frame the project, it is a problem for the part of the authority as well as the contractor to know the exact condition for next 18 years. So under these uncertainties, how do you bid any Tom, Dick, Harry, I'm asking, for this kind of projects to mitigate those risks?
No, I think I agree with you, because fuel risk is quite a big risk in a dredging project. It's 20 to 25% is the fuel cost, and you cannot speculate, you cannot gamble what the fuel cost will be in 3 years or in 12 years. For me, that's one of the major risks, in addition to what Ramanathan explained. 2 major risks like soil and weather. Also, one more very important risk is the political and community risks.
Correct.
Because I think this project is very sensitive, for that matter, any such large project. And I don't think any contractor will be able to take that risk in his shoulder. Tomorrow, if there is a major strike, there is a road closure of the project, then how can you take care of this?
Yeah, the fourth one, which I
But
want to highlight.
some of the risk we can mitigate the fuel, we can hedge nowadays. We can hedge the fuel price for a couple of years. That's possible, but it's slightly high cost. And in terms of the overall risk, there are credit insurance to cover the project. So there is coverage. Ultimately, the client is going to pay the money.
See, as far as I know, nobody will cover the risk on fuel. That's all clear. Second is, which bank
No,
will
no,
finance
we
it?
do hedge fuel for a couple of years. We
And
are doing it
that's
currently.
okay. For
Yeah.
2-3 years, everybody knows that. But you are entering into a project of 3 plus 15 years. I am talking about a very serious risk. So if I am the contractor, I'll go on padding. The 20,000 crore becomes 25, 23, 30. Now I take 40% of that. That is 12,000 crores, right? Now as a JNPA, when I am sitting on the table at PPAC, what is the fun in doing this? When I get for 12,000 crore, I have to give, and 20,000 is the EPC, which is cheaper for me. It's always EPC which is cheaper, right? So we really have to think it twice before we go and jump and say these words that if everything is well defined, who will define these? Neither the client knows, nor the consultant knows, nor the contractor knows. And we have burning examples, JNPT phase 1, phase 2, even when a beautiful project is going on, for a silly advice, the project gets delayed in phase 2. So that kind of things will also happen here. So there are also another thing, the custom duty. Today you don't know what is the custom duty on the imported dredger. What will be the custom duties 5 years from now? How will you take into that into account? So I don't find, frankly speaking, any sense of whoever is the person who has brought in this HAM PPP model in this dredging project.
All right.
I'm surprised as a consultant you are saying this. You should tell it to JNPT basically. You are the consultant, correct?
Thank you so
Perfect.
much, for an enlightening discussion on a very drab subject. Okay, dredging is a highly technical thing, but still you have managed to simplify it and tell the audience what it really means. Thank you so much.